listening to Waves in the Ocean, a conscious living podcast. Like the ocean, we are all part of the collective consciousness, each expressing an individual wave. In this podcast, we give you the tools to live with intention, reconnect with your true essence, and create more abundance in every aspect of your life. We are your hosts, Lauren and Lauren, best friends, yogis, magical beings, and ascension guides. Our intention is to share our authentic truth and bring on others living a conscious life to create a ripple effect in this world. Let's go on an amazing journey together. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're talking all things nutrition and the vibration of food.
Good stuff. We could talk for hours upon hours upon hours of this subject, but we're going to really try to concise it, if that's even the proper use of that word.
Right? The funny thing is we tried to record this last week and it shut us off because it knew we were going down this rabbit hole.
We're all over the place. We're like numbers and then food and then this and parasites.
There's just so much regarding nutrition, but we're going to try to divide this into a couple of episodes, mostly focusing on vibration. We'll go into different types of foods, maybe a little more unconventional things that you normally don't hear on social media, the internet, mainstream nutrition. And we hope this sparks some new things in you, even if you take a tip or two and apply it to your life and just see how it goes. Because we have to ask, how do you feel now eating the way you eat? Or have you tried multiple diets in the past and still not really feel your best? When we look at food as energy versus looking at it as so much numbers and calories, proteins, carbs, fats, there's so much more in depth than just that.
Exactly. There's so much more to it. And that's like the matrix of food that we've all grew up with. And it's kind of destructuring everything you think you know about food. Like we always talk about destructuring everything you think you know about everything. Mm-hmm. And food's just a major aspect of that because we've been brainwashed, I'm going to straight up say it, to believe one thing and believe numbers are really important, or you have to get this much protein, or you have to do this, that, the third, and there's this fat and this diet, and everything's really limiting. And it's moving away from this limitation that our society loves to place upon us, whether it's trying to eat less calories or be skinnier or this, that, and the third, and opening up to the expansiveness that food is really here to do by nourishing you, not just nourishing your physical body, but your energetic body as well.
For sure. So I can say that coming from a background, I went to school for 6 years of nutrition, and I'm thankful for all of it. It's led me on my path. I'm so thankful to work one-on-one with clients each and every day. But as I've gone down more of the spiritual path, I realized all the things I was taught in school has been quite a deconstruction of
big fat lie.
I know, my freaking student loans all down the tubes. No, I'm kidding. And
everything's divine.
It's all divine. And I learned so much, but also they ingrain in you so much of, it doesn't really matter like the ingredients. It's more so follow this many calories, this many grams of protein, and you will meet the goals you want to meet, right? But why is it that we put two people on the same diet, same calorie goals, same protein goals, one succeeds, the other one doesn't? There's so much more than we can see beyond just the numbers and what society has told us is healthy.
Yeah. I've been going through this thing the past 2 weeks of just being like, if the mainstream says it's good, run away. Run away as far as you can. If general society accepts, you got to start questioning it. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that, bringing a curiosity to everything.
Yeah. And what's really helped me, even with clients and myself overcoming years of eating disorders, even going through school of nutrition, I thought less is more. Like, let me just limit my calories. I'll exercise like 3 hours a day, save my calories for vodka and gummy worms on the weekends. Yep. And working one-on-one with people has really made me realize that is the farthest thing from healthy.
Yeah.
And it's more so starting to look at food as energy versus numbers.
Yeah. And getting into this, at least this is my take, getting kind of away from food as a hobby and kind of coming into food is for our survival to keep us healthy and to go on. And we live in a very big culture where we're such a foodie culture now. And there's nothing wrong with that. People really enjoy food and things like that of that nature. But there's a point where it's tipped the scale so much that we need to come back to the root of what food is actually for.
Mm-hmm. Not to say food can't be pleasurable and an experience and it connects people. It's really your intentions behind it and why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Like, are you eating to fill you because you're sad or you're emotional or you're stressed, or maybe it brings back these comforts from when you're a kid, or it's getting to the why of why you're eating. Is your body actually hungry?
Exactly. Because it's a lot of people eat for that comfort and it brings back nostalgia at times, or it's a coping mechanism for when they were younger that made them feel safe. And again, there's nothing wrong with that because it was needed for the time, but it's just really figuring out why your patterns are the way they are, what addictions you have because of whether it's emotional support or straight up the chemicals in something can also cause that addiction, or the sugars and things of that nature. Figuring a little bit more about yourself in the process as well.
And that's where how food is so related to conscious living.
Yes.
It's when you have this awareness, it's awareness in all areas of your life. I mean, you could do all the spiritual work and feel, I meditate every day. My spirit is, separate from my body, but it's not. Your body's here teaching you things, and the food that you put into your body is also a sign of love and how you're going to grow on your spiritual path. And you will become of that. And when you start to live a conscious life, you'll be aware of that in all areas of your life, of where is it not quite in full alignment.
Exactly.
And food is a big part of that.
Yes.
So, yes. So everything in life is energy.
Yep. Truest statement you could ever make.
So we are energy. It's so much more than we can just see. The physical body is how much percent?
It's the physical body, the matter, what you see right now in this moment. Your physical body is 0.000001. That's 0.00. Like, think of all those zeros before that one I just said, of who you actually are. And the energy body, the wave-like aspects of you that you can't even see, what's invisible but all around you, is 99.99999% of who you actually are. And we are so focused on the physical form that it takes over and keeps us in this 3D matrix structure. But when you come back to the reality that you are way more wave than matter, rather than matter trying to change matter and be matter, once you come into the ideology of you are so much more, your consciousness is so expansive, your energy is so expansive, you start to shift and become more wave than matter in that fact.
It's so cool. I always say to people, for so long, it's like, but science says this, and this is the physical, and I believe what I can see, but something we can't deny is how we feel too.
Exactly.
We don't see feelings. Like, you're like, I love this person. That's not a physical thing. It's a feeling, and living life more through that than what we can see. And the food we eat is just the same. There's vibration behind each and every food you are eating, the quality of it. We try to more so focus on the ingredients and where it's coming from versus this has this many grams of protein and calories, so it's healthy. It's better to, be eating fruit, which has bad reputations for lots of sugar, versus this like protein bar that has 0 grams of sugar and 20 grams of protein, where it's full of chemicals and all this processed shit. So if your body wants to eat really good, nourishing foods from the source.
Exactly. And just to go on that, the science I was talking about, the science that we're taught backs it. But there's so much other science out there that is going against everything we've learned in the Newtonian model. So if you go into the quantum field of science and all of these new studies and revelations that are coming out, it backs the quantum theory and the electron cloud and all of these different aspects that we never were taught growing up. So it's just time to make a shift. So if you're stuck on the old models of reality, just expand your consciousness, your awareness a little bit, and start getting into other things that we're not really going to go into today. But
that's a whole nother topic,
yeah,
right?
I just wanted to bring that up, that there's what we learned in school is extremely limited and is outdated. And you really need to step into the quantum field to see what's actually out there.
Mm-hmm. And with that, it requires a little bit of trust and letting go, because there can be fear behind it. And I come from that background. You know, if I work out, if I eat this many macros, all the things, we can have this mindset of, I need to fix my body and it needs to look a certain way. And when you come to this, more of this mindset of, I'm just going to trust to feed my body what it needs, regardless of the calories and the protein, that you're going to end up your most beautiful, authentic self versus, you know, maybe your body isn't designed to be like 2% body fat.
Exactly.
And I can say that, you know, for me, I went through that path for a while of really trying to restrict. And, you know, I was super, super tiny, not to say I'm not small now. I'm more at my natural weight. That was a hard ego thing for me to get over, of allowing myself to work out because it feels good and to eat what foods make me feel good versus like, okay, I'm going to restrict my carbs and just do like proteins and veggies. Whereas I was not getting my period for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that alone is, for women, that's one of your biggest vital signs. Like, how are your menstrual cycles with what you're eating and the way you're moving and treating your body? And then the whole mindset behind it too. But it's just trusting that when you let go of all these strict numbers, that you're going to be the exact most beautiful, authentic version of you.
Exactly. And it's a huge playing point, the numbers. We are so driven on numbers. It's out of control. Like whether it's the calories that you put in the body, the number that's on the scale when you step on it, which one of the biggest proponents right now, just throw out a scale right now. Never look at a calorie again, in my opinion. Whether it's your salary that you base your worth off of, or the number that you get on a review that your boss gives you, or the test score you get in school, like the list can go on and on and on of how we identify ourselves based on a number. And that is the farthest thing from the truth, because we are infinite. That's it. That's the truth of it all. So destructuring the belief systems around numbers across the board, not just with food, not just being like, oh, I have to eat 1,200 calories. For me, Laura and I both had eating disorders. Very grateful for it. Taught me a lot, taught me how to love myself. But I would restrict my calories so much. I would restrict my calories by I would try to eat like 900 calories a day. And then I would just throw them all up also. So, and then I would go run 5 miles at a speed of like 8 on a treadmill. And it's just insane because of numbers. And if you see me now, I'm average height. I weigh probably like 125 pounds right now. Honestly, I can't tell you. I haven't been on a scale in a couple of years, but at my lowest, I was at like 103, which is, you can see what a big difference that is just by because I'm thin now. But once you just structure the numbers game, you start to open up to your worth. It takes time. It takes process though.
It's the process of
a journey.
It's a true journey of healing and being patient and kind with yourself along the way. But yeah, just, you know, from all these years of working with it, I see how much pressure people put on the numbers, and it can put these labels on us as good or bad. Like, oh, you know, I was in my calories today. I was good. And then we don't pay attention to how hungry we are. It's like, oh, you know, I need to eat this, so I meet these numbers. Or we restrict ourselves and we're actually super hungry. And then at the end of the week, it's like we just say, fuck it and eat whatever. And then we feel guilty about it. And then Monday, I'll get back to it. I'll stick in the range. I'll be better. But it creates this disconnect from actually listening to your body, because your body is super smart. Like when you really start to tune in and like eat intuitively, you will know when your body's hungry, when it's time to stop. And it's a process. It takes just like really slowing down and like enjoying your foods and eating well and taking the pressure off yourself, because we can just, it sends us in these spirals of guilt and shame, which those are, and if you're feeling those are some of the shadow work emotions that you need to work through. And even the scale, right? I have clients that get up and will weigh themselves every day, and they're like, oh, I was up 0.5 pounds, and then I was down a pound, and then I was, up. And it's like, oh, if I know I'm up a pound, then I ate too much the day before. And everybody's weight fluctuates. Like, you could have your weight fluctuate 5 pounds in a day, depending on how much water you drank.
Yeah.
If you've gone to the bathroom, what clothes you're wearing. So I tell everybody I work with that let's try to take a little different approach and try to more so focus on the feelings. And how's your energy? How is your sleep? How is your digestive system working? Where's your stress at? Because those are the big things, that things are working well inside of you. And with that, I also like to relate it to gardening and seeds and plants, because basically we're just like moving plants. So anytime you plant a garden or plant seeds, when you do that, you trust, you give it good soil, you give it good water, you're patient, and we just kind of know things are morphing under the surface. And before you know it, this beautiful plant emerges. That is the same with us. So if you're starting to make changes, you don't see things right away. Every day, wake up and ask yourself, how do you feel? What is best going to serve my body? And focus on that, and know that all the things are shifting within, because when your gut's in a better place, your hormones, your stress in a better place, you're naturally just going to be overall healthier. And you just have to trust that your body is going to be at its exact perfect spot. And that's where all the outside, it's like manifestation, right?
Yeah.
How you feel on the outside is a reflection of the inside.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And this intuitive eating process is what we can best recommend with that. And it's like, what is intuitive eating? We'll get into that right now. And I know there's a lot of you, because when people used to say it to me, I'd be like, that's bullshit. Not bullshit, but I'd be like, how am I supposed to intuitively know what it means? It takes practice. That's for one thing. If you're not meditating already, you need to start meditating, because that's what helps you connect with your own intuition. It increases your connection with your guides, the trust in yourself, all of these things. But when we talk about intuitive eating, it's taking time to really touch and connect in with what your body truly needs, because your body and your consciousness, you, are two different things. You got to think of your body as like this vehicle driving you around. When you're in your car, you're not your car. You're still the driver of your car. Think of that as your body. You're not your body. So when you look in the mirror and you're like, and you don't like what you see, you're not even really truly talking about you, because it's only the vehicle that drives your consciousness around.
You are only in this body for a certain amount of time. And what I like to say is, you chose this body.
Exactly.
And that is so amazing. Of all the bodies you could have picked in this lifetime, you were like, this is the one
This is the
most awesome one that I need. That's going to teach me all the lessons. And like, it's like loving your body, because you're not in it for a long time. And that's such a gift to have this deep connection with all the gifts this body in this lifetime is giving you.
Exactly.
Think about it. You could have had anybody out there, and you were like, this one,
this is the one
Bowen in human carnation. I'm going to be her, and it's going to be fucking awesome.
It's going to be awesome. We'll crush it. Yeah. So you got to connect with that idea, and then take the cues of what the body is cueing for you. You're using it. It's your biggest tool. If you are getting bloated, or if you feel sick after you eat something, or if you're getting a rash, or if your body's not digesting properly, or if you're underweight, or if you're overweight, all of these things, if you're not getting your period, or your period's too heavy, or all of these things, is your body giving you signs that something is out of alignment. So that's the first step of how you can cue into your intuition.
Because it's listening to your body, because there's a ton of healthy foods out there, right? But sometimes certain foods don't work as well with us, especially if you're working on your gut health. And that's a whole other subject. But for me, if I eat too many bananas, like bananas are super healthy, but if I eat too many, I get bloated. If I space them out, it's a little bit better. So it's just listening. Not everybody is going to be on this same diet. And I think there's also, we can get into the vibration and stuff after, but depending on where you're vibrating now is where, this is my theory, of what foods are best going to serve you too, and how to get to a higher vibration with that as well. Yeah. So it's about listening to your body and listening to your hunger and fullness cues. So just with that too, I know some of you on this may be thinking, because I hear this all the time as well, is okay, I want to do intuitive eating, but I just can't. Like, I don't know how to do it. I've tried. Every time I do it, I go off the rails. I don't know how to listen to my cues. So with that, like sometimes, you know, if somebody wants a plan, I'll give it to them. And that's like a starting base. But it's like, how do we, with that, the things to work through are your past traumas and beliefs and all of that, of why you need.
There's a reason why you can't have control, just as much as there's a reason why you're too controlled.
Right.
So it's getting to the shadow work and doing the journaling aspect of that whole side, because you need to figure out why you can't stop eating when you're full, or you need to figure out why you don't eat at all, or you need to figure out whatever is going on in your own little energy field, your energetic being all around you, which is past patterns, beliefs, traumas forming your reality right now. So doing the shadow work again and the big energy releases is
food, nutrition is a huge shadow work component that I do with almost all of my clients, depending on what they're ready to dive into. But it's like, okay, like, did you see your parents restricting yourself? Did they deprive you of food? Did they take it away? Did somebody call you fat when you were younger?
Yeah.
There is so much behind it. Was food used as love in your house? Like, were you super stressed and not able to express your emotions, so you went to food to be happy? There is, that is where the root of it all comes from.
Yeah. And even I see with overweight people as well, or is that like your protection source? Are you eating a lot of food to make yourself bigger? Because either maybe when you were little, you just always wanted to be bigger because your older brothers and sisters were always doing stuff that you couldn't do. And you keep being like, I wish I was bigger. I wish I was bigger. And now it's a belief, or maybe it's a protective mechanism that's keeping you safe, or you feel like this extra weight, this armor is keeping you safe for some reason. So there's so many different aspects that go into food.
So many. A lot of times, not all, but a lot of times as well, it's a touchy subject, but women especially, weight can be held on based on a lot of sexual trauma.
Yeah.
That is just this really big correlation. And sometimes we don't
abuse, like even more, like physical abuse as well.
It's like, I will be protected and nobody will fully see me.
Exactly.
So, but those are just the places of, if you're questioning like, why can't I do this? Be kind to yourself, be where you're at, and know that like you have so much power to shift that when you go into your own past beliefs. So everything's tied into shadow work, but it's like, how do you know when you're hungry and when you're full? And those are listening to your cues. So I like to use a hunger scale with my clients just for some like physical numbers, right? So like some of you may have heard of this before, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're so hungry, you feel like you're going to like pass out, like you're dizzy, nauseous, like, that hangry feeling. If I don't eat right now, I'm going to like pass out. 10, you're so full, like Thanksgiving dinner full, like you feel like you could vomit. You got to unbutton your pants. Like I'm pretty sure we've all been on both of those ends before. And I know that I have. The goal is to stay more in the green zone, like around like a 5, where you're not really thinking about food. You have good energy. You can go about your day. 3, maybe your stomach starts to growl a little bit. You think about food a little bit. You could wait a little longer, but if you know it's going to be not time for a meal for a while, likely time to have a snack. If when your stomach starts to growl more, you're thinking about food sounds good, not just like a head good. You'll know food sounds good and you're like, oh, fruits and vegetables actually sound good right now. It's like, oh, a cookie sounds good. It's likely in your head because your body's actually craving nutrients. But the key is to take your time when you're eating, to slow down, enjoy it, chew well, so you can catch yourself when you start to get full. And you want to stop eating when you're around like a 6 or a 7 on the scale, where you're satisfied, but you're not too full. So often what happens, and I see a lot, is people don't eat all day, come home and they're starving, right? So I just ran out the door, had coffee, no time to pack lunch, worked all day, come home, I'm starving. So you're pretty much at like the lowest end. And then we eat super fast, not having enough time to catch and process, because your body takes about 15 to 20 minutes to actually even recognize that you're full. So when we don't take the time, we can go from a 0 or 1 to a 10 super quickly. So just taking in like moments and asking yourself and pausing, taking a few breaths, like, how do I feel in this moment? How am I? It's just constantly tuning in and checking in with yourself. And that's where the daily mindfulness of like meditation and getting to know your body and your cues more will help you catch those things.
Yeah. And that's a huge point right there, being in the present, because we are so addicted to the past and we are so addicted to the future. So much so that when you get up in the morning, you're thinking that you have to go brush your teeth. When you're brushing your teeth, you're thinking about the shower. When you're thinking about the shower, you're thinking about what you're going to wear. When you're thinking about your wear, you're thinking about breakfast. When you're thinking about breakfast, you're thinking about work. When you're thinking about work, you're thinking about vacation. When you're on vacation, you're still thinking about work.
It's always like the next thing.
It is. So when you come back to the moment, and it's a hard thing to do. I was on a walk today and kept drifting. And I was like, oh, come back. Kept drifting, come back. It's just bringing back to the moment of what you want. And for me, I've been implementing the practice, and if you have a pendulum, I use a pendulum too to help with that intuitive practice. So you can play around with those to get your yes or no questions and go off of that. But before or when you're in the kitchen and decide what you want to eat, sit there and be like, okay, body, what do you want to eat? Stare in the fridge. Be like, do I want zucchini? Do I want quinoa? Do I want, and tune in to the feelings that resonate or that are calling back to you, and just implementing the cleaner foods into your life. I think that was one of the best things that I've done. Implementing cleaner foods into my life. I didn't know that foods weren't bad for me. I didn't know that processed foods were really bad for me. I grew up eating meat, steak, potatoes, bread, and cheese. That was my diet, like bread and meat, basically. I didn't like vegetables. I didn't like any of the salad. I didn't have like salads. I didn't eat vegetables. So I was like 26 years old.
I know.
Yeah. So like,
I remember your diet.
Yeah.
And Marina came to stay with me when she did her yoga training. And she was like, I think everyone else is vegetarian in my group, so I got to become a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I was watching her trying to cook, and it was like all this like processed like meat, and her vegetables were pickles, and full of condiments. Like your plate wasn't even food; it was just condiments. Like every condiment there possibly.
Exactly.
So look at how far you've come in the past few years. So just an example, right? You can make changes at any time.
Exactly, and that was the thing. Like I was eating condiments, and partly because it was still like old, like restriction, disordered eating behaviors, but also like I just didn't know better. My parents didn't know better. The society doesn't know better. But once I switched to eating healthier foods, first I became vegetarian, then I would eat cleaner, then I would eat more fruits and vegetables. My body adapted and felt so nourished by this food that it's all it craved. So when I started swapping out processed foods for more whole foods, at first my body was like, I don't freaking want this shit, because it doesn't know what it is. But then it was like, it felt, my hair started growing longer. My hair used to not grow past my shoulders. It was thin and like stringy. My hair grew longer. My skin got more life back into it. The energy I got, the vital increase of energy is huge, was significant. So being and starting to eat wholer, fuller foods is really beneficial across the board. Mm-hmm. And then you don't have to restrict as much. Honestly, I eat all day, every day, whatever I want. Like there's no anything. But with that being said, everything I eat at this point is clean. It's what my body craves, but it's all whole foods. And then I get nourished really quickly. It's never like, oh, I just had dinner. Like Lauren will see it all the time. I'll have dinner and then I'll have like a smoothie. Then I'll have something else because I'm like, I'm hungry right now.
It's listening. Everyone's on different schedules too. And no matter where you're at, your body is really smart and does a great job of healing itself. So if you start to make changes, like your stomach cells regenerate like every 7 days.
Yeah.
So there is no like kind of like, it's been this long, there's no point. F it anyways, I'm old.
Oh my God, that's the worst thing you could ever do. I'm old, I'm dying.
So I'm just going to enjoy it. But there is room for enjoying your foods too, right? But you will find as you start to do this and the way you feel, your body craves nutrients. So when you're actually really hungry and look at the fridge, it's like trusting that, hey, like I really am craving like some quinoa and veggies, or I'm really actually craving like some nuts or an avocado, it's like your signs that your body is being like, I need like zinc and magnesium and proteins and healthy fats and omega-3s. Like it's not really looking at it like that, but that's actually what you're giving your body and it knows. So it's an intuitive practice of just like, what foods look good to me? And then if you're not entirely doing that, the body can still be hungry. And that's where if we're eating things that we feel like we have to eat, and I'm not entirely perfect at it because sometimes I'm like, this is just what I have. Yeah. But if I had the choice all the time, it would be awesome. But when we eat things just because we think we have to, and like, oh, salad and chicken again, I wasn't satisfied by that. Then you're often going to go look for other things because you're eating this food that your body really entirely wasn't looking for those nutrients.
Yeah. And just on to add to that, I really recommend, we're going to get into this another time, but I will briefly say it here. Really recommend a type of cleansing as well. Just because you don't know what you don't know. And cleansing is a great thing to bring awareness to what you are addicted to. So when your intuition, is it really you being like, oh, I want the cookies right now and shove them in my face, when your body's really yearning for something nutritious and nourishing, or maybe it's a parasite or something like that. And the benefit of cleansing, whether it's like you do dairy-free, gluten-free vegan for a week, it brings awareness to what you are mentally, ego-mindedly addicted to.
Then you can notice the shifts too and how you feel as well. So it's definitely a good reset for sure.
Resetting.
And then figuring out, okay, like if you add stuff back in, it shows, oh, when I eat this, now I don't feel good. Because you don't know how good you can feel until you start to make changes. And even with that too, I'm going to get into a little bit, just like, let's say you do have things coming up, like you're going out on a weekend or dinner with friends or family, and nobody is perfect, right? We're not in this society. We're humans. We're here having an experience. Nobody is perfect. Your intentions behind the food you eat is really, really powerful too. There are science studies on this that you could look at. That I was looking at one the other day with apples, that if you label in 2 apples, one with loving thoughts like you're amazing, I love you, you're beautiful, you're healthy, and then the other one with you're ugly, you're fat, you're worthless, all the things we could say to ourselves, right? You cut them in half at the end of the week. The one you say awesome things to is perfect. The other one is brown. And that is how our thoughts before we eat something can really affect that. So if you're going to dinner out and maybe you order something you don't feel that great about, or we're not really like huge advocates on alcohol, but if we do have a drink, we try to put great intentions behind it.
We bless the shit out of it.
It's like, this is going to make me feel great. This is for celebration.
I will not be hungover. I'm going to have a good time with my friends.
Yes. It's all about the intentions behind it. So whatever you put in the food, that's what you start to consume because it's all energy. And same with water studies. If you say bad things to water, it turns to this like nasty sludge. Say beautiful things, it turns to these amazing crystals. I for sure want the crystal energy in my body.
Yes,
even exactly. With plants, say mean things to plants, they die. Beautiful things, like we are. That's how we need
even people,
right?
Right, even yourself. So be mindful of your thoughts.
That's what I'm saying. You need to start being really mindful and putting gratitude and love into all you eat, because that alone will shift the vibration of the food you're eating. So, and taking away the shame and the guilt of if you do feel you eat something that isn't entirely on your plan or perfect. It's just an acceptance, and then going back to what things make you feel good.
Yeah, because like we were talking about in the very beginning, we're more everything, not just us. Everything on this earth is more wave than matter, more energy matter, the thought. So whenever time you have a thought, think of that as a wave coming out of your head and going into the universe. Same thing with our food. So in that case, when we are actually changing and can change the cell structure of what we eat with that alone, because it is energy. And that energy, those electrons, those atoms, those protons will infuse the apple or the soup or whatever you're eating with the healing energy and change its composition.
And so just really start to think about that, putting love and gratitude to all you do, because that will shift your life in more than one aspect. And we always say that a sad salad is worse than a happy donut.
Exactly.
Oh, this salad sucks, right? Not to say go eat donuts every day, but there's a balance in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying you have to go vegan, cleansing 100% of your life to be on this spiritual path.
It will help.
It will help. And if you get to that point and you want to, but not to get down on yourself from feeling too overwhelmed, like I'm not even going to start.
Exactly. It's like, again, it's all about the deconstructing. Like, so I'm in the process of, I've deconstructed so much. Food has no hold over me. I've deconstructed everything around it so much where like, it just doesn't have a hold over me anymore. So now I'm at the point of like, okay, now I can play this game even more. Now let me have something that I see as like lower vibrational foods and let my body just heal it so much that it becomes like liquid gold in my digestive system, and playing with that idea. Cause there's no hard yeses and nos in the universe. It's all fluid.
It is. And doing what
spiral,
doing what feels, doing what feels right to you.
Yeah.
You could hear so many mixed messages out there as well, but tune in and your body will know. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I will say, yeah, I'm on that process as well. For me, I always liked vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I was never like condiment diet.
Yeah.
But for me, I remember my diet used to be very, very strict. It was like, I can only eat this, and I would stop and I would still be hungry. And sometimes I'd wake up in the night and my heart would be racing because I just wasn't eating. And then I'd go crush it in the gym. Mm-hmm. But getting more into just the process of listening and trying to heal, my eating disorder and get my period back. I went through this phase of like, and my inner child kept telling me like, you need to eat a lot. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in a phase where I feel really healthy and confident, and it's deconstructing that belief right now of my body is smart. I don't have to force it. I can eat what makes me feel good, and letting go of that fear of like not eating enough, because as we do raise in vibration, we start to function more off of light too.
Exactly.
Which is a whole other thing.
Yeah. That's a rabbit hole for another day.
Right. So you want to go into like different foods?
Yes. We'll go the gist of that. Food is vibration.
Yes. It's vibration. And these are just little like tidbits kind of, we're going through all this energy and you're probably like, okay, like what the fuck do I eat?
Yeah.
And we're going to go through each specific category, give you some ideas.
Quickly. Yeah. But just a little background on that. When we talk about food as vibration, everybody says, raise your vibration. Vibration is one of the biggest buzzwords right now. Honestly, when we talk about vibration, it is literally the vibration of what you vibrate at. Our atoms or molecules, protons, neutrons, all of the science things that you've learned in school, they vibrate at a speed. When you talk about raising vibration, it's just increasing that speed or decreasing that speed. When you increase the speed of what you vibrate at, what the molecules vibrate at, you become more wave than matter. And when you decrease and you eat the heavier foods, you become more matter than wave. So you're more in the 3D dimensional world, or you're raising your vibration and getting to the higher dimensions. So when we talk about these foods, they all, and you can test this, they all have a vibration. They're all vibrating at a speed. Mm-hmm. That everything in this dimension is, whether it's your door or your treadmill or the rug that you're sitting on, they are also all vibrating. They're just at a slower place that we can see it.
For sure. So we know a lot of you listening to this podcast are into consciousness and likely want to raise your awareness. Mm-hmm. So just regarding that, right? Just tips to raise your awareness. The more you get into this path, and I never thought I'd be in this way, but my diet is predominantly vegan right now because it's what my body is asking for. And those foods, plants are the highest vibe, whereas meats and processed things and dairy is all lower vibration and has a consciousness of its own, which is going to keep you in a lower vibration.
It is. And trigger warning for all of you meat eaters out there. I love meat. I 1,000% did. I'm not saying it's wrong right now for you. If you still eat meat, great. It's your path. It's it's fine. But just know when we talk about being lower vibe, you're taking the consciousness from another animal. And that's why it stops your spiritual growth for a number of days when you eat meat. So if you don't care about that, go for it.
And if you are eating meat, organic, antibiotic free, do your research.
You need to do your research. It's a disservice to yourself that if you're not doing research, because they're pumping so many antibiotics and chemicals and hormones into meat that's why everybody, especially females, women, why do you think everyone's hormones are so fucked up? We've been pumping our systems with other hormones for years.
Meat
as well
and
as
dairy, especially.
Meat and dairy, especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just knowing that consciousness wise, the expansion of it stops the expansion by eating meat. Cause you got to think when you're in this world, you're like, oh, we're in one, we're all reflections of each other. If that's the case, that does include meat and animals of that nature. And I know there's people out there and be like, well, plants are alive too. I agree with you. They are, but plants, you don't kill them when you harvest them. And with plants, because they're still alive, their energy lives through your body and then they experience through you, which is this wild phenomenon.
Plant medicine.
Yeah.
And they grow back too.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas, so choosing more like grass-fed meat. If you're going to do meat, organic, antibiotic,
local,
chicken,
go to a butcher that you know and
talk to them, ask them what they feed.
It is honestly this important that you do that. That it's clean, that you know where you're getting your food from, that it isn't infused with all of these chemicals and dyes to make it look like it's red when it's actually gray, and hormones.
For sure. Wild caught seafood, do your research on that as well.
Yeah.
Farm fish, you don't know what the fuck they've been eating. Even these GMO salmon and all that shit.
Mercury.
Stay far away from anything that's been grown in a lab.
Oh God. Yeah. So then if you're like, okay, you listen to this and you're like, Lauren has inspired me to be vegan. Definitely not saying that you have to do that. But then there's the other end of the spectrum. I know vegans who eat Beyond Meat and then Oreos, and that's their diet. I would rather eat a local piece of steak than the Beyond Burger.
Same. If you
10 times over.
Read ingredients of everything. Where did it come from? What's in it? If you don't see real foods on the ingredient list, don't buy it. Artificial sweeteners, gums, processed oils, all that shit is going to keep you in a super low vibe and clog your system. And those are the things, more so than calories, that cause you to have changes in your microbiome and gain weight.
Exactly. Clog up the whole systems.
For sure. But then let's mention one more important thing. No pork.
No pork. No dolphin, no pork, no dog, no whale.
Oh my God, I can't imagine eating a dolphin.
Go to China. They freaking love it there.
It's so sad. But yeah, they have a super high consciousness and they don't sweat. So
no pig.
You completely shuts off your intuition for 48 hours.
More. It's more than that. The meat will bog you down for that much time. And this all inflames your body as well. Not just spiritually, but it does cause inflammation in your body. You got to think of it this way. A pig is an extremely smart animal. It's on a conveyor belt to be slaughtered. It knows what's happening. So it's releasing all of these adrenal hormones in its body as it knows it's about to die, gets slaughtered, then you eat all of those hormones. That's just not nutritious.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yes. But with that, right? If you do choose to eat it, do your research. Put good intentions behind it. Because a lot of times, the keto diet is so pushed, paleo, the carnivore diet, it's we need to lose weight and all of these things. And then long term, we can have really bad gut issues. And yes. And then we often hear but how am I going to get my protein? Protein's super important. And it's just trusting that we really don't need as much as we have been told.
Yeah. Yeah. I could go off on that because I was a protein person. I didn't really know much. And I was like, oh, I get my protein in. I'm telling you right now, some days I don't have any protein. And this has been a couple of years at this point and I haven't withered away. I'm not malnourished or anything like that. It's a gimmick again. Anything mainstream is a gimmick.
It comes in many sources too.
Exactly.
Even nuts and seeds and different sorts of beans and lentils.
And it's where your belief comes behind it too, right? So if you believe you need protein to survive, your body's going to reflect that. Me, I'm going off a belief system or creating it, I should say, where light is nourishing me. So that's going to reflect it too. But if I was still in the belief pattern that like I needed protein, my body would create that and things would happen. So it's your beliefs behind everything that matters as well.
Going outside and asking like the sun to nourish you, or putting your feet in the grass, or go hugging a tree. The earth is giving you tons of nutrients right there. And you might even find like you need things less and less. We're not encouraging you to like stop eating and develop an eating disorder.
No, do not do that.
But to just try those things and see how you feel.
This is
Be open-minded.
Try everything and see what your experience is and then base it off of that. Maybe it will work. Maybe it doesn't work, but it has to be off of your experience and not someone else's, even ours here.
For sure, because ours is a little bit different as well. Like I am way more of a morning person, and I like to eat breakfast when I get up, and I'm not one to really eat super late, and maybe have a little more scheduled structure than Lauren, because my body just gets hungry at like certain times.
Yeah.
And you're one to like eat until like midnight, and then you could not eat all day.
Yeah, my first like meal's at like 2 p.m. I'm like, Luna, it's breakfast.
I know. Even like your little cousin or your nieces were here, and they were like, I'm hungry. And you're like, you can't eat breakfast yet. It's too early. You're like, I'm training them.
Sorry, Leanne.
You're like, no breakfast.
Dude, it was like freaking 6 a.m. or something.
It was like 8:30.
Didn't need it. Juices first.
It's everyone's on your own schedule, because that's a myth too. It's like eating too late will cause you to gain weight. It depends on how much you've eaten the day and what your schedule your body's in.
Yeah.
Lauren's one is healthiest person I know, if not the healthiest, that she eats at midnight and she's fine.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Listen to your body. I'm one to like to go to bed a little earlier.
Yeah.
Since I've been living here, though, my schedule's a little bit different. I'm adapting to this household. It's a great place to be. It's a vortex in here full of crystals. You come in, your mind's blown.
Yeah.
You start like
activating.
You have to come. It's an experience. We had every crystal in this house you could possibly imagine. Yeah. Side note, Lauren just got me a super awesome dragon crystal, all for manifestation and getting rid of your fears.
They're amazing.
So
Lydios light crystals, if you have any questions on it, let us know. They are amazing, life-changing. They take your energy. They're like, because I was just in a training with them and I was going back and forth of my own ego battles of like, why do I need these crystals? Everything's within. Then I'd be like, no, I want the crystals. No, I shouldn't be spending this much money on them, back and forth. And I was talking to Peter and Ursula, and they're like, and they are, they like sell them and everything like that and are so knowledgeable and amazing. And they're like, yeah, you can do it on your own, obviously. And they're like, but it's just the difference of, do you want to walk there or do you want to take a car there?
I want to take a car.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing with us, is that everything is more so the fast.
I want to take a spaceship. I want to teleport there.
I can't wait until I can teleport.
I know. It's going to be
coming
awesome.
Soon.
It is. It is.
Pretty soon with all this. You never know what we are capable of. So fuel your body well and you'll be teleporting around town.
Yeah. And when you eat, I think we can, and we're going to do a lot of nutrition sessions, but maybe end on the vibrational food of like.
So I think we need to tell people what they should eat.
Yes. Quickly.
Yes. We'll do it quickly, but just, we went through all the things you shouldn't do. People are going to be like, what the fuck?
More organic. You eat organic.
Yes. I want to say fruit gets a bad reputation.
Fruit that's mind blowing. So every time Lauren says this, I'm like perplexed.
Yeah.
How anyone could think fruit coming from a tree, literally like so beautiful and luscious, could ever be bad. Like you hear it in my voice right now. I'm thoroughly
of society.
Confused.
We always hear fruit is too much sugar. It's going to, raise my blood sugar. It's going to make me gain weight, all the things.
That's one thing though. Like, how can you believe it?
I think anything that is from its natural source, no ingredients added. It comes from a tree. It's actually the highest vibrational food.
It's gold.
So in my mind, society has put such a bad reputation on it because they know that and know with eating more fruit, your vibration is going to increase. So I would say do as much fruits as you want to. Enjoy them, organics for sure. go local. Same with vegetables.
Yeah.
Eat as much vegetables as you want. Just being careful of, where it comes from. Make sure you're washing things. Good way to get things off. Put a little lemon essential oil in water and rinse things that way, just because that's the thing. We can think we're doing super healthy, but if we're getting like conventionally grown stuff, there's a ton of like chemicals and pesticides, like GMO, all that shit.
It makes eating the fruit not important anymore because there's so many chemicals on it.
So,
and that's the beautiful thing about fruits being the highest vibrational food. Think of it this way, and plants, but fruits are the highest. And I've spent weeks eating fruits alone, and that's just like this vibe. The energy that comes from it is unbelievable. But if you're on the spiritual journey, again, this is more pertaining to people on that path. We're turning matter into wave, physical form into light. And that's what plants literally do, fruits and vegetables. They take light and turn it into the matter. So by ingesting that, we're ingesting that energy of taking light and turning it into matter. And that's what's so powerful behind it.
For sure. So do as good quality, do as much of those things as you want. Dairy wise, I would stay away. It's full of shit, processing hormones. Tons of people are intolerant to it.
It inflames the body. If you have a raw local milk or something like that,
making your own kefir can be good for your gut health. But other than that, I work with so many people, even regardless of the spiritual stuff, it's just not tolerated well. Eczema, gut issues, all the things. So
lights up the same centers of the brain as heroin.
Same as sugar. And you can make your food taste good in so many other ways, through different like spices and herbs, or adding like salsa or avocados or hummus or dates. So good. But yeah, right. It's like, so basically dates are life changing.
They are. They're life changing.
They're a great substitute for dessert too. So sweet. Good Health in Hanover, coconut dates. Try those. Also, I love figs and mulberries. Nuts and seeds too. Great snacks. Like if you're looking for more protein in your snacks, like pumpkin seeds have so much, and they're great for balancing hormones, adding little flax seeds to your foods. I'm pretty sure we live off cashews in this house.
So good.
But great for snacks, great for adding to any kind of like, even toss in a smoothie and blend them up, or put them in a salad, or all the things. Top your soups with them, all the good things. Gluten as well. That's a huge thing. Most people are intolerant to. And I think the years of us and how gluten is processed in this country has made it like 10 times worse with all the chemicals and
the glyphosate that they spray.
So with that, there's plenty of good gluten-free options. Good toast substitutes. I'm really into sweet potato toast.
Freaking love potatoes. I eat potatoes and zucchini like every day. It's
so potatoes, getting your carbs that way, like through organic, like potatoes, sweet potatoes, quinoa, good mung protein, beans, carbs, mung beans, like.
And they have like gluten-free pastas, chickpea pastas, all of these different stuff out there now.
I'm a huge fan of chickpea or red lentil pasta, especially in the summer. Good for pasta salad. You can toss like, some veggies in there, or like a organic like tomato sauce for dinner. But I would stay away from that. And then
watch your oils for sure.
Oils for sure. Yes. Low heat, getting good quality oils, because depending on which oil you're using and the temperature, fats can go rancid, which are super inflammatory in the body. So if you're going to cook with high heat, use avocado or coconut oil. Low heat, or like salad dressings, olive oil is the best. Avoid all vegetable oils, canola oil,
sunflower oil, palm seed oil.
If you see those in ingredients of foods as well, processed foods,
you gotta ditch them. Anything fried in restaurants is with a shitty oil.
So when you have a lot of power to do these things in your house. When you create like this environment where you have and stocked with all these really good foods, it's so much easier. And then if you go out or have events, that's when you set the good intentions and you're like, this food, I'm going to crush this food. It's going to be great.
Yes.
So setting yourself up in a good environment. But basic day, if you get up, I think Lauren and I pretty much live off of smoothies.
I have like 90 ounces of smoothie a day. And it's fucking awesome.
It's just so good. Not to say you have to do them every day, but a super easy way to just toss in, even frozen. Sometimes frozen can be better than fresh. Good organic frozen fruits and vegetables. Toss in any kinds of frozen fruits, a date or two in there for some sweetness. Add in some seeds, great for proteins and like hormone balance, or some spinach or kale.
In there. Honestly, if there's like
super filling, you're good to go.
Yeah, if there's one thing to do, because obviously I didn't. You heard what I ate before. It took me a while to get where I am now. But one thing was easiest thing that helped raise my vibration, open my pineal gland was smoothies. I started drinking smoothies every day. And then my whole life changed.
That's all you got to do, guys. Meditate and drink smoothies.
Meditate.
And that's it. But that's a super easy thing, right? You can make one in the morning, grab and go, take it to work with you. A super easy way. And then maybe even on the weekends, like taking some time to grocery shop. Even we've been doing a lot of online shopping. Save some money. And Whole Foods, great, delivers right to the house. You know how much you're spending. I've actually been spending less, even though it's from Whole Foods.
It's the best thing ever. I hate the grocery store.
Farmers markets are coming too, and those can be a fun experience. Mm-hmm. But try to like meal prep a couple of things or plan out your week for, we're huge components of like bowls and salads and soups that aren't these things that take forever. But having a few of those things prepped, you don't really even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And then good snacks in the house. Take out all the stuff that isn't serving you or you're really trying to eliminate. Like I said, nuts, seeds, dates, fruits, hummus and vegetables, all the things. I know we covered a lot today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Might be a little overwhelming.
This is only part one.
A little overwhelming.
Don't fret.
Don't get your pantyhose in a knot. Is that even a saying? I feel like that is.
Oh my gosh. No, you guys are going to go out there and crush it. Let's leave them with just to summarize, 2 to 3 tips.
More whole foods. Eat more whole foods.
Mm-hmm.
Less processed foods.
Yes. If you can, even just doing trying to do a non-processed diet for a week rather than I need to eliminate all these things, try to do non-processed foods for about a week or so and see how you feel.
And a non-processed food is basically, it's only anything that comes without a wrapper on it. So you're going to be like, what the fuck? But no, it's whole foods that aren't combined with a bunch of other stuff. Pasta's processed, but quinoa isn't. Rice technically is processed, but black rice, I would say, is good.
I love black rice. You guys haven't tried black rice. Great texture to it. Great there's so many different things.
Potatoes is non-processed. Meat, non-processed. But then it comes with all the other side effects. So be very, very mindful of that. Fruits, vegetables, obviously.
Yeah, big component. I keep saying nuts and seeds, but I just love them.
Yeah.
That there's so many different ways you can do it. But yeah, I would say if you're not eating fruit, add fruit back into your diet. And
smoothie for sure. Just start drinking smoothies.
Meditate, have a smoothie a day, try a non-processed food week, and put good intentions behind all the foods that you eat.
Yeah. If you could do a vegan non-processed food week, gold star for you.
And let us know how you feel. Sometimes you have detox symptoms where it really kind of sucks. Your skin may start breaking out or your stomach gets worse, but it's like cleaning out a closet. If you were to have this closet full of shit and you start cleaning it out, it looks like an explosion. But when you put it back together, it's really quite better.
Yeah.
So just know that's normal. And it's you clearing out things that are stored in your body. So yes, doing great, guys. And my last tip is to get up every day and ask yourself how you feel and how you can best care for yourself.
And ask yourself, now I'm adding another tip to your tip.
I know, Lauren's over here.
I'm trying to wrap her up.
I know, and she's going to go on a tangent.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to say, ask your body how it feels, what it needs, and what it wants.
Do that, guys. Thank you for listening, and we will be back next week.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening. For more information on our classes, events, and retreats, check out our website at yogilawrence.com, linked in the show notes. We love to hear how you are making your own unique wave in the ocean. Connect with us on Instagram at Yogi Lawrence. See you next time.